Hi, and welcome back to Celodex. Today we're excited about our new and improved Joor import process. That said, let's get started. The first thing that we're going to want to do is download your sales summary report. Now, you could download an entire list, but you're probably going to want to focus on the approved orders. So we're going to go in this case and uncheck Notes, Shipped, Pending, and Returned. We'll include Show Pricing, and we'll go ahead and select a custom date range. Once the report is generated, you're going to want to export that report to an Excel file and then export. Now, before we can start the import, we want to check the data and possibly make a few modifications. The first page you can just go ahead and leave as it is. That's just your summary page. Clicking on the Worksheet tab shows us the list of orders. The first thing that we're going to want to make sure is that the brand matches the brand that we have within Celodex. In this case, I know it does. We'll also take a look at our sales reps. Now, in this case, all of these sales reps are with Celodex. Some have first and last names, some just have first. All are okay with the exception of Billy or Bill. Bill is actually not one of our sales reps, but for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and leave Bill on this sheet. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our retailer names and our customer codes. Now in some cases, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this for demonstration purposes, the customer codes just may not be there. But there will always most certainly be a retailer name. So we've given you the option to either import or input the customer code or the retailer name. Now if you've already been importing from Joor, you've probably been familiar with entering some of these customer codes or retailer names into the Joor ID. Now we've made some changes regarding that. So in Accounts, where you would normally go to Column Visibility and then select Joor ID, we no longer call it Joor ID. It's just called External IDs. And what's happened there is we had a Joor ID and a New Order ID, and we found that that was a bit redundant and unnecessary. So we've actually combined all the data into one field. Don't worry, it won't affect any new imports. All of the same data is there, and it'll look for any matching criteria regardless of where it came from. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and take a look and match some of these new customers. So let's take a look at the first one. So we've got Avic, and their customer code is 700. So we're just going to use the general filter and look up Avic. And Avic is actually short for Avic Mui, and we can see that Avic's already in there. So there's no need to do anything additional. The next account we've got here is Apricot. And it actually just says AL, and maybe AL is based on a code from a different company, either for Joor or New Order. So in this case, they actually spell out the retailer Apricot. So we're going to go ahead and copy that, and we're going to go ahead and paste that. Now you'll notice I didn't add a space because spaces are actually unnecessary. So we're going to go ahead and save that, and then we'll move on to the next. The next customer we've got is Bamboo something. And they've just got BAM, but the customer is listed as Bamboo 7000. So in this case, let's just try using the 7000. So we're going to use the comma and 7000, and we're going to save. Okay, great. Bow and Arrow is the first one there. Now they have it as BA, so we're going to add the word just bow, or 1700 in this case. So we're clicking in there, and we're going to do both this time. Not that it's necessary, but just to illustrate that you can do that. BOW, comma 1700. So now we've got both name and customer code in there. And then Avic is already done, Bedazzled, Apricot, those are already done. Now before we move on, I want to just stop and discuss one minor detail that could be an issue. Within Celodex, we separate each value, whether it's the retailer name or the customer code, with a comma. As an example, we have BDAZ, comma, Inc. In Celodex, we would put in a comma, BDAZ, Inc. And we would not include the comma here. And what you would need to do on your sheet is you would also need to eliminate the comma here as well. Now this is obviously a little tedious, especially if you have to import this customer over and over again. If they have a customer code, we suggest using the customer code. If they do not, as in this case, My suggestion is to try to go to the account profile within Joor and eliminate any commas within the name there. After making your modification and then saving, the next time you run the report, the account should appear here without a comma in the name. Now that all the retailers are done, we could, in theory, start our import. However, before we do that, I just want to go ahead and correct a few other things on the sheet. Now, it's not necessary, and you could do it with a bulk edit later, but for instance, I know that these were done on a Joor iPad, but in our showroom, we don't do it that way. I'm going to change Joor iPad to showroom. And these two I know were also at the showroom, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste these in here. Those events are essentially what you would put in Celodex as location. Now, the next thing we want to do is take a look at the line sheet. Now, I could import this with the line sheet code, but the line sheets don't really mean anything to me. So I'd actually like to change this to the correct seasons. So summer 18, and the rest of these are all going to be fall. And the last thing I may want to change is the status. While approved might be good for Joor, it may not necessarily be the right code for Celodex. As you know, when you enter an order into Celodex, it automatically defaults to open. So in this case, I'm going to make this open. So we've changed the status, we've updated the event, which is the same thing as location, we've made sure that the retailer customer name and codes are entered into Celodex. We've also confirmed that the sales reps are correct with the exception of Bill, and that the line sheet has now been changed or updated to our seasonal codes. So we're going to go ahead and save this, and then we're going to go back to Celodex. We're going to click on Orders, and we're going to go ahead and click the Import tab at the top. We'll scroll down here to the second option, which is the Import Orders for Joor New, and we'll choose the file. Joor Ace, here we go, open, and we'll import. And there it goes. It says 9 orders were found, 8 were imported, and 1 had an issue. And why? Because it had no matching user. So that one user named Bill was not part of our organization and therefore not imported. If we want to correct that, we can do it, or we can simply leave that out because maybe Bill works for a different showroom. In this case, we're just going to update the sheet so we can show you how that works. So we're going to go back to Bill and we're going to name it Bob. And enter and save. We're going to then click back on Celodex, click the back button. We'll re-choose the file, the same file that we just chose. Open, import. And now 9 orders were found, 1 was imported, 8 had issues. And why? Because the other 8 were duplicated. Or not imported because they would have been duplicates. So now we have all 9 orders in. Let's just take a look at them. Now I know that the date range, the brand was for Ace, and the date range. All right, so we've got all 9 orders in. We've got the units, we've got the dollar amounts. Everything seems to match up perfectly. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. And as you can see, after doing the initial setups and making sure that everything matches properly, this will save you a ton of time over manually entering your orders. If you have any questions, be sure and reach out. Otherwise, thanks for watching and happy selling.